Hello everyone, it's a new week here on Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, the number one tennis betting podcast and YouTube show brought to you in association with Bet Rivers, your hometown sportsbook. Wimbledon may be over. We're recording this before Carlos Alcaraz and Novak Djokovic is taken to centre court. But we have three tournaments. There's four tournaments actually, but three tournaments with odds that we're going to discuss for next week. And I'm delighted to say, as per usual, joining me on a Sunday afternoon is Sean Calvert, our ATP Tour senior handicapper. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Calvert. How are you? Good afternoon by 2 minutes. Yeah. I'm all right. I don't feel great today, actually. I've still got the last knock-ins of this virus, which is... into its 11th week, for those that are interested. But yeah, other than that, I'm fine. I've just got a waft of smoke coming in through the doors. I think the neighbours are doing a barbecue or something. I guess a lot of people are doing stuff today because obviously the England match is on, but I can imagine there's going to be some beverages drunk, I'm guessing, by the fact that the neighbours are starting a barbecue already. It's only lunchtime, so... And one of the reasons why I want to get on with this podcast very early today to make sure we got these three matches, because I'm heading to the stadium in about an hour's time for some very nice beverages to be drunk and the success for tomorrow night, hopefully, if we win the tournament. But anyway,
enjoy.
It's enough about... Yeah, well, do you know what? I'm like a kid at Christmas. This is like, I can't wait. I remember when the last Euros was on, I was out of my house at 9 o'clock in the morning. I was in the fight. I went to Wembley to watch the final. And it's it now. It's the big match. But anyway,
I don't get that excited about stuff like that anymore. I think I'm just too old and cynical. I used to. I just don't anymore. Maybe it's my age. I don't know.
I think it's the fact that when you travel abroad, I mean,
when you're there,
I'm more excited about being here than I was to go to Wembley. I must admit that. So winning a tournament abroad is a dream come true for me. But anyway, we get ahead of ourselves. We've got one big match to come to that a bit later on today with Spain. But it's about tennis. This show, Carlos Alcaraz and Novak Djokovic haven't completed their Wimbledon final yet. But we have three tournaments this week. Well, like I said, there's four tournaments, but only three that we have odds about. The first tournament is not far from where I am here in Berlin. It's in Hamburg, over in Germany. The weather conditions should be good, because the weather here is going to get really, really hot next week in Berlin. I'm guessing that Hamburg will be the same. I was at this tournament last year and it was chucking it down with rain.
So was I, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely chucking it down with rain. This tournament here, what are the conditions like? I think the weather's going to be good, isn't it?
It looks all right. It's kind of about 24, 25, so a lot warmer than when we had it last year. We had the rain jackets on last year, didn't we? Mm-hmm. There is a little bit of rain expected at some point in the week, but it looks generally okay, and there is a roof, if you want to call it a roof, on that centre court. It's almost like a bit of like a concertina tarpaulin, isn't it? It's quite a strange roof they've got there at the Rothenbaum, the centre court. But yeah, they've got a roof. They probably won't need it, but no, weather conditions are fine. As far as the playing conditions are concerned, it's about average for a clay event. 75% holds, 68.4% first serve points won, but obviously it depends on the weather. I would imagine it'll be slightly quicker here this year than it was last year. It was a bit slow and damp last year, wasn't it? 32% of the matches feature a tie break. Nothing on over-unders. It's exactly 50% for both. But the interesting thing is, and I'm going to have more bets this week than usual, because all these tournaments, generally speaking, offer far more underdog winners than most other weeks. You know, this post-slam week, you do get some peculiar results, and that's what I'm going to have a go at this week. So 36% of the underdogs win in Hamburg. So, I'm going to probably have a few more bets than this week. As far as the trends are concerned, Rafael Nadal is the only number one seed to have won Hamburg since 2009. A qualifier has made the final 3 times in the last 11 years. And as far as prices are concerned, 6 of the last 8 champions have been priced between 20-1 and 80-1. And 5 of the last 7 runners-up have been priced between 20-1 and 50-1. So that gives you a sort of feel of what this tournament's about.
In this year's defending champion, Alexander Zverev, local lad, comes from Hamburg. He won this tournament quite convincingly last year. He's played a lot of tennis, obviously.
Injured though, isn't he?
Yeah, injured, but he's the defending champion. Prior to that, look through the list of previous winners. Musetti won it in 2022, Karina Buster in 2021, Rublev in 2020. This week we have Zverev, Wies, Rune. If we look at the draw, Zverev is the number 1 seed at the top end of the draw. Number 8 is seed playing the quarterfinals is Zhang. Serendulu is number 4 seed. He's in the top half of the draw alongside Arnaldi. Then we have Djere, we have Bergs, and we have Arthur Wies and Holger Rune. Now, really, it's a 500 event this week, which is the the highest profile of all the 4 tournaments that we have featured across on Bet Rivers. But really, it doesn't have that great get to it if we're looking at this draw here. I mean, Rune is playing, he played dreadful at Wimbledon. Zverev injured. Arthur Fils, quite impressive. Where are you looking at in this draw? What's sort of taking your eye? Top half, bottom half? It seems a pretty fair draw.
I think the bottom half's easier. Right. And the reason that I think that is because I'm kind of discounting Holger Rune. He'll probably go on and win it now that I've said that, but he can't be in a good way. We'll talk about him in more depth in a minute, but not for me. Holger Rune just not got the stats, not got the form really to be as short as, what is he, plus 350? Yeah, not for me. So I'm taking Arthur Fils in the bottom half here.
I was just about to say, let's have a look at the odds for this tournament. Alexander Zverev is plus 170. Holger Rune is plus 350. Serendud is 7. Sebastian Baez is 14. Mathieu Alaudi is 16. Tarderi is 16. Arthur Fils is 18. Zhang is 20. Then we go up to 28 to 1. Bar Zhang. And, Arthur Fils was the one that my eyes were drawn to, given how well he played at Wimbledon and his form coming into the tournament. Sorry, Sean, I interrupted you. Explain to me why 18 to 1 is such a nice price.
I think you've just done most of it.
Oh, thank
you. Inadvertently, you've taken the words out of my mouth. Yeah, he did play really well there last year. You saw him, I saw him. Beat Casper Ruud extremely convincingly here, didn't he? A year ago, lost to Zverev in the semi-finals. Obviously, no disgrace there. Played really well on the grass last year. He didn't play well on grass because it was his first time, and he didn't really know what he was doing. And now he seems to have taken to it. Played well. Against some decent players on the grass this summer, and I just feel like this draw is a one that, looking at the players in it, he should be going deep in a draw like this. The top half, I don't know. I'm not sure Zverev's going to turn up. I mean, I know it's his home tournament and stuff. If he does, I think if it wasn't his home tournament, there's no chance at all he would have played. The fact that it is his home tournament suggests to me that he might turn up and sort of do a bit of limping and say, look, I'm trying my best here, but what can I do? It's difficult to see him. It's difficult to fancy him at plus 170, given the fact that he was on one leg in the last time we saw him, which was only a few days ago. And the other ones that I quite liked in the top half, the likes of Carballes and Arnaldi, the Italians. I prefer the Italians next week when they're playing in Umag, because we're both going to be there. It's insanely hot there, by the way. It's like 34 degrees there at the minute. I'm sure by the time I turn up, it'll be about 8. But anyway,
hopefully you go the day after my arrival.
I'm there Saturday, so I'm there early. So
okay,
it should be fine. It looks fine. But the Italians get a ton of support in Umag. They always tend to go well there. So I'm kind of keeping my powder dry on the Italians this week. I fancy them more next week. So the draw for Fils looks who's going to beat him really? Rune, yeah, maybe if he gets past Marozsan. There's nothing else there. Djere, and it's not exactly, he's a good player, but nothing for someone like Fils to worry about. There's nothing in that bottom half. Baez, most times, very underwhelming in Europe, tends to save his best stuff for South America, loses too many matches that he should win. I mean, he might win this tournament, but at the odds, I'd much prefer Fils. Yeah, 18 to 1 with Bet Rivers. That's me.
Very nice price for a very talented player who can play on a multitude of different surfaces. Looks comfortable on all of them. Head across to the Bet Rivers website. They'll have all the match bets on the tournament in Hamburg, also in Gstaad and over in Bastad as well. We also have Newport on the grass in America. So it's a bumper week for tennis. As Sean touched on there, both myself and Sean will be in Umag in Croatia next week, and you can follow our ventures on the Twitter account and on our Instagram, on cross socials at Because We Win. There are a couple of matches that you've picked out for us, Sean, here.
3 here.
The first one we like is Kwon against Marterer. Marterer is minus 162. Kwon is plus 130. The spread is 2.5. Minus 112 and minus 113 respectively. The total is 22.5 here. They've met once before. Marterer has won that match. He's much higher in the rankings than his opponent, because obviously the opponent's had a lot of injury concerns here. But the last time they met, and the only time they met, was in a Challenger in 2017. Both of them, Marterer hasn't really shown much on the clay, and his indoor form has been dreadful this year. So do you think the head-to-head continues here, or are you going for one of your preferred underdogs?
The latter, unsurprisingly. I mean, Marterer is in terrible form at the minute. He's only won 10 matches at all levels this season. That includes challengers. And he's 10-19 win-loss. So, dreadful form. He was dreadful in Mallorca as well. Paul Jubb beat him very easily. I think it's something like 6-love, 6-2 or something like that. Did nothing against Bautista either at Wimbledon. At main level, he's 1 win and 11 losses in 2024. And the only win he's got was basically a tank from Jordan Thompson at the French Open. Thompson, as most people will know, doesn't really do clay. He just turned up, played the 3 sets, got his money. See you later, off to the grass. That's the only win he's got this season. If you look at this season at main level, both these players, Marterer's service points won and return points won total is 89, which is dreadful. Kwon's is 97. He hasn't played too many matches because of injuries, but it's still miles ahead. If you look at historical data, all-time on clay at main level, Kwon, 45% win rate, Marterer, 36% win rate. Kwon's service points won and return points won total on clay, not his favourite surface, but still 98. Marterer, 96. Marterer has a pretty awful record in Germany at main level. He's 1-4 win-loss at this tournament. The one win he had was over Molliker, who was ranked 251 at the time of the match. And he's 5-15 win-loss at main level in all tournaments in Germany. Lost 8 of his last 9. So, and he's a favourite here. Kwon can play on clay. You know, he beat Ruud at the French Open, straight sets. Played pretty well against Korda, very well. In fact, he lost 3-1, but he was only 5 or 6 points behind Korda in that match. And he does need matches on clay to prepare for the Olympics. He's playing the Olympics, Kwon, so he's going to want to get a couple of matches under his belt here. Just looks a poor price on Marterer. You know, no decent record in Germany, no decent record this season. Kwon for me, plus 130 with Bet Rivers.
Plus 130 for Kwon. The next match is a bit of an interesting one as far as the betting is concerned. More or less a level match. Zizou Bergs is the marginal favourite, minus 124 against Laslo Djere, even money. The spread here is 1.5. The total, again, pitched at 22.5 with over minus 113 and under exactly the same price. At minus 113, excuse me. These two have played twice before in the tournaments going on here before. Gstaad, they're playing in Hamburg, but they've played in Gstaad. Bergs won in 2023, 6-love. He won the first set, then he won 6-3 in the third set. They also won in Gstaad, well. And every one of these matches they've played is actually pretty tight. There's been not in terms of sets. I mean, there's not in terms of games in sets, but they've all gone the distance here. How do you see this one?
Well, I took Djere as an outright in Gstaad last year, and he lost in round 1 to Bergs. And then he went on to reach the final a week later in Hamburg at somewhere like 80-1.
That's the norm. That's the norm of our outright picks, isn't it?
That's the thing with outrights, and it's glory or embarrassment, one of the two. I mean, Djere was absolutely dreadful that day. It was a kind of mini tank. It was a very strange performance from him. But he was a 1-3 favourite for that match, Djere, and now after an injury hit season, he's slight underdog against the same player. You know, he's starting to find his old form a little bit now, Djere, and he's going to want to do well here, a venue where he made the final last year. If you look at the all-time clay main level records, it's Djere with the slight advantage, 102 service points won and return points won total compared to Bergs 101. Service hold and break total, Djere 104. Bergs 101, so slight advantage to Djere on the stats. In Hamburg, Djere's 7-4 win-loss, service points won and return points win total of 104, and a hold and break total of 110. So he clearly loves conditions here in Hamburg. Obviously suits his game. Done very, very well here. Bergs never played here before. So slight edge to Djere for me, and considering we're getting him as a slight underdog, then Djere's the bet for me, yeah?
Yeah, even money is the price for Djere. Available with Bet Rivers. Matches start at 4 a.m, so make sure you get across nice and early. Currently about 32 different markets, and I'm sure that will increase to the high end of 40s by the time the players take to the court tomorrow. But a nice early start, so get across there, get the app on, and get your bets down. The final match, and this is the one that I think is the most intriguing match, and we sort of touched on his performance at Wimbledon in his last match against Novak Djokovic. It's Holger Rune, who clearly is not at his best at the moment, and he's a big favourite against Fabian Marozsan here. Minus 265 for Holger and plus 205 for Marozsan. The spread is 3.5. Minus 114 for Marozsan, minus 112 for Rune, and the total again is a 22.5 line with unders very, very heavy favourite. Now, when you come into this tournament, we've spoken about Rune and how poor his performance was. He was someone that we looked at in the outright market and thought, he potentially is a fade. On the money line to win this tournament is very, very low price, plus 350 to win it. He couldn't have picked a worse opponent, could he, in round one? I mean, they played Marozsan already this year in Miami, and Marozsan won 6-1, 6-1. And obviously, Marozsan is a player that famously beat Carlos Alcaraz in Rome. I know he's not in the best of form, hasn't won in his last 3 matches, and he's only won 1 in his last 6. But a return to clay could see a return to form for Marozsan.
Yeah, I mean, Rune's got to be low on confidence, hasn't he, after that dreadful display against Djokovic at Wimbledon and a pretty poor year in total. I mean, all the coaching changes, it's just nothing seems to be settled. He's changing things in his game. It just doesn't look right, does it? He's not the player that he was a couple of years ago. Crushed by Marozsan in Miami, as you said, 6-1, 6-1. But after that, there was these claims, and they may be correct, that Rune was sick. I think his mum said, he wasn't very well today, all this sort of stuff. Rune himself said that he should have pulled out before that match. Whether that's just him trying to lessen the embarrassment or what, I don't know. Let's take him at face value. Let's say he was sick, but even so, Marozsan's not going to exactly fear Rune, is he? Having won 12 out of 14 games that they've played, not even that long ago. Last 12 months on clay at main level, Rune's behind on the service points won and return points won totals. Marozsan's on 100, Rune's on 99, and Rune sees himself, doesn't he, as a top 5 player, Grand Slam potential winning champion, and he's got service points won and return points won total of 99. He's having a laugh at the minute. He's got to do way better. If we look at the last 12 months at main level versus the current top 20, Marozsan 42% win rate and a service points won and return points won total of 95. Not blinding, but Rune 29% win rate and a total of 94. So against the better players, Marozsan's performing better than Holger Rune is. He's also got better clay data over the last 12 months. Marozsan played okay on the grass, considering he's very inexperienced on it. He beat Safiullin, who's a Wimbledon quarter-finalist, took sets off Sinner and Struff on the grass. That's not easy to do. So, he's not playing badly by any means. This is going to be a test for Holger Rune. I've taken over player games here, over 11.5 player games for Marozsan at 1.86. That's minus 116 of Bet Rivers. I think this is going to be a very tight match. If Rune comes through it, I think he's going to have to do it the hard way.
So, on the 3 matches we've spoken about there, Sean, is it just one official pick, or we got 2 official picks, or are we going for the 3?
I think this week we're going to take all of them.
Oh, this is what we like. It's fighting talk. Come on.
I think you have to look at the weeks. I mean, I try and be a bit more circumspect in Grand Slams because the history tells us year after year after year it's poor for underdog winners. History also tells us that this week is very good for underdog winners. So that's why I'm taking a few more bets this week. Plus, there's a ton more games. Obviously, there's 4 tournaments, so more opportunities. Though we haven't had a chance to look at Newport yet. But yeah, I think all 3 of those are value. So if you see some value, you have to take it.
So, bumper week for bets from Sean Calvert. Head across to the Bet Rivers website. You're going to be very busy over the next course of the next half hour or so with more bets. Write them down and we'll do a recap at the end of the show, but there's lots of action coming your way. And move on to our second tournament of the week. It's in Bastad in Sweden. And in action here, we have Casper Ruud, Andre Rublev and Rafael Nadal. Let's have a look at the previous winners. Rublev won this tournament in 2023. Serendulu won it in 2022. Casper Ruud won it in 2021. The amount of times I look at these sort of low 250 events and see the name Casper Ruud, it wins him. Yeah, it's unbelievable. And he's a favourite, plus 175 to win this. Rublev looks to bounce back from his disappointment at Wimbledon, and Rafael Nadal on the comeback trail. Can he win this with some practice ahead of the Olympics? What are conditions like going to be, Sean?
Good question. I haven't got this up on my screen yet. Slow is the answer. Right. It's one of the slowest tournaments of the year, Gstaad. Often gets quite windy as well, because it is right next to the beach. You do get quite a lot of strong winds here, quite gusty a lot of the time. Averages 74% holds, 67.3% first serve points won. Only 22% of the matches, 22% of the matches, I should say, here feature a tiebreak. So you'd want odds of about 4.55 on a tiebreak in any of these matches. So don't be back in tiebreaks, or maybe do. Maybe you think it's value to take it. We'll see. But strong trend towards the unders. 58% of the matches in the last 5 editions have gone under 22.5 games, and it's strong on underdogs, as I've said. 39% of them win. Strangely, the best rounds are the quarterfinal, semi-final, and final. Bit strange that. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's, the players have had enough, the top seeds have had enough, and then, they want to move on to the next week or whatever. But whatever the reason, those are the best rounds. Those are the underdogs. As far as the weather's concerned, it's going to be slow, I think, because there's rain expected Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and it's only going to be around 18, 19 degrees. So cool conditions, slow conditions, quite often windy conditions as well. As far as the trends are concerned, no qualifiers ever made the final here, and only one number one seed has even made the final here since 2012, and that man, as you alluded to, is Casper Ruud, who's done it twice. No other number one seed has done it since 2012.
Well, the top four seeds get buys through to the last 16. Those top four seeds, so this time around, Andrei Rublev is the number one seed, so he's already through. And he looks to like playing the number 3 seed, Talon Grigspor, if it went to form of the semi-finals. In the bottom half of the draw, we have Navone at the number 4, and Casper Ruud is the number 2. But the interesting one here is Rafael Nadal, isn't it? I mean, he is in that bottom half of the draw, which explains why some of the prices are what they are. What do you think of his return here? Is he using this for practice for the return to Roland Garros at the Olympics, or do you reckon he wants to, or is he going there to win it? I think he's a fade at the price, but probably get a few matches under his belt.
I never thought I'd be talking about a situation where Rafael Nadal's playing Gstaad. I have to say, this is what a massive bonus for this tournament.
It's like Novak Djokovic in Geneva.
Yeah, just turning up. Yeah, similar situation as well. Djokovic needed matches, didn't he? Nadal obviously needs matches on the clay. And he's got Leo Borg in the first round. I mean, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist here, but that draw is a little bit suspect, isn't it? Rafael Nadal comes in. They obviously know he's coming in. The whole tournament must be marketed around, Rafa. And who does he get in the first round? Leo Borg, the local wild card, who only ever plays main level in Gstaad because he's so bad. I don't want to be too unkind to Leo Borg, but he's not befitting of this level.
It's like a sort of, those sort of computer games when you can pick, Borg v Nadal. It's like Bjorn Borg against Nadal. It's like quite weird, isn't it? How you can those computer games.
This is very much the lesser Borg.
Yeah.
Let's put it like that. So yeah, I mean, I'm not having an outright here. Actually, I quite like Rublev's. Well, I do like Rublev's draw. I'm struggling to see who's going to beat Rublev unless Rublev is still kind of mentally down after that shock Wimbledon defeat where Comersana beat him at about 25-1. Because if you're looking at this draw, there's nothing in there really in the top half. You wouldn't be worried about any of these players if you're Andrei. You shouldn't be if you're Andrei Rublev. He should make the final from this draw, which is why I'm tempted to back him. But it's just too short for me. Plus 300. I'm passing on this one. My lean is Rublev, but it's too short for me to back.
I'll give you some prices on the outright market. Casper Ruud is the favourite at plus 175. Rublev is $3. Goes against your trend, though, Sean, with the number one seed, though, doesn't it? That may be one of the other reasons.
That's another reason I don't want to do it. I just think it's a bit too short.
Yeah, plus 320 for Nadal. So the market is really dominated by those top three. Talon Grigspor is 10-1. Cam Norrie at 14. Navone is 16. Carballes Baena 22. Kotov is 25. And Borges is 28-1. Borges is 28-1. And that's the runners and riders on the outright market here in Gstaad. Have we got any matches? Have we got some matches you like here?
Not in Gstaad. No, not in Gstaad. Oh, hang on. Sorry. I'll tell a lie. That is complete nonsense. Yes, we do. We have 2, actually. I'm getting my tournaments confused. Yeah, we got 2. So
yeah, it's confusing for me with Bastad Gstaad. I keep looking at the wrong matches. So many matches head across the Bet Rivers, as I say. There's loads on there. And the matches we have got them here. Carballes Baena against Safiullin is one of the matches that you like the look of. Minus 109 for Carballes Baena. Minus 114 for Safiullin. 1.5 the spread. Totals a consistent number of 22.5 with over minus 108, under minus 118, and narrow favourite. What do you like here?
Where are we? Carballes Baena. I like here. I'm quite surprised to see him as an underdog or Safiullin as favourite here. He's just won a title at the Braunschweig Challenger. I don't know where that is. It's obviously in Germany, but I don't know exactly where. Somewhere near you. He's just won a title there. I think it was yesterday. Actually, beat some very good players on the way to winning that title. I think he beat Van der Zandschulp in the final. And he's just got a far better record on clay than Safiullin, who prefers quick conditions. You know, he's at his best on either grass or a sort of quick hard court. I mean, Gstaad in the rain is about as slow as it's going to get on the ATP Tour. And it gets windy as well, as I've said, which is not ideal for a shot maker like Safiullin. Slow, windy. It just feels to me like Baena would have a much better chance of winning in those sort of conditions than someone like Safiullin. Last 12 months on clay at main level, Safullin's service points of won and return points won total is 93. Carballes Baena is on 100. If we go to the last 10 matches, Safullin's slightly better on 96, but you know he's some way down on the numbers of RCB, who wins 3% more service points, 3% more return points. But all told, better clay stats than Safiullin. The only slight worry here is that if Carballes Baena is fatigued from winning that challenger in Braunschweig, but I think you'll get a later start because the rain does look like it's sort of set in Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, so you'll probably get a later start if there are any rain delays. So I just think there's no value at all in Safiullin at minus money here. You've got to take RCB at 1.92, which is, I believe, minus 109 with Bet Rivers.
Yeah. Looking at the year clay record this year, 16-11 for Carballes Baena, 3-6 for Safiullin. So that is an overwhelming difference.
Conditions.
Yeah, and in the slow conditions that Sean has alluded to there, in the rain, this is a tough place and to go to play a clay quarter. And Carballes Baena will love the conditions and available at minus 109, the underdog against Safiullin. But I expect that to flip-flop as the match goes nearer the time. The next match is two out-and-out clay tours. Thiago Monteiro up against Federico Coria, minus 148 for Monteiro, plus 118 for Coria, spread 1.5 again. And as I keep saying, the total, all the matches, 22.5. Pretty much every one we've spoken about has been 22.5 here. These two have got some epic clay court records this year. 25-18 for Coria, 24-11 for Monteiro. They've met 3 times previously, and it's Monteiro who leads 2-1. Lots of long matches between these two as well, so the over 22.5 made cash. In the 2 matches they've played on clay, it's been 1 win apiece. And they've all gone to a final set, and this looks a real slog.
Yeah, and that would favour Coria, who is an out-and-out slogger. You know, not blessed with a great deal of power, but he'll just make you play ball after ball after ball until either you get bored or you miss. So conditions here, you know, they've proven to be very good for Coria. They seem like they would be, and the stats tell us that they are, and not so much for me for the more attacking Monteiro. So it's another horses for courses bet, really. If you look at the head-to-head on clay, Monteiro, his weapon is the first serve. He's won 74%, or first serve points anyway, 74% on first serve against Coria, but only 43% on second serve. Now, first serve points won in Gstaad averages 67.3. So second serves are going to be very important here, more so if it's damp, slow, wet and windy. Coria wins 56% of his second serve points at this tournament in Gstaad. So if we look at the Gstaad records, Coria here is 7-3 win-loss in Gstaad, and he's got service points won and return points won total of 103, winning 43% of return points. So it's perfect for him. He's got the time to return, whereas on quicker conditions he hasn't. He can be overpowered a little bit too easily. And Monteiro is 3-5 win-loss here, and he's only got a service points won and return points won total of 98. So I just feel like conditions will suit Coria here. I don't think they suit attacking, like the very attacking players that Monteiro loves to attack with that forehand. The wind, the slow conditions, it should favour Coria. So if you know Monteiro's going to have to settle down for a slog if he wants to win this match.
Yeah,
Coria for
me. I like the overs as well. Over 22.5 minus 118 there. The matches that we have featured for you in Bastad. Remember, it's an early start again, 4 a.m. All these matches. Are they both official picks, Sean, as well?
Yeah, we're going for it this week.
Ooh, 5 bets. bets.
What could possibly go wrong?
Five bets and outright markets. Ooh, the tennis is livening up this week. We're getting stuck in 5 bets and 5 on the matches so far. Let's move to our final tournament, not the final tournament of the week, but the final tournament that we can discuss on this show. And it's over in Switzerland with the most amazing backdrop. One tournament I'd love to have gone to this year, but obviously the Euro 2024 takes precedence over that. But it's in Gstaad over in the beautiful country of Switzerland. So impressed when I went there, love it, and I can't wait to go back. And this will be right up to the top of the lists. If you look at this tournament here, we look at the previous winners. 2020, it's in the clay again. It's a 250. Kachin won it in 2023. Holger Ruud, Casper Ruud again won it in 2022. Run it again in 2021, and Ramos Vinolis won it in 2019. If we go back through, look at the list of players in this tournament: Tsitsipas, Berrettini, Wawrinka. They are competing this week. If you look at the draw, the top 4 seeds have byes through to round 16. So through to the round 16, we have Stefanos Tsitsipas, who is in there. We also have Felix Auger-Aliassime, who's in the top half. In the bottom half, we have Thomas Etcheverry. And at the bottom half, also Ugo Humbert. Some dangerous opponents around. Before we go into the runners and riders and give you our suggestions on who we like on the outright draw. Conditions, please, Sean, and the trends and also the statistics if you're betting here in Gstaad.
Yeah, so it's 1,000 metres of altitude here. So if the weather's fine, which it may or may not be, it plays quicker than usual clay court events. So it averages 81% holds of serve and 71.8 first serve points won. So those numbers are much higher than the ones I've just talked about in Hamburg and Gstaad. But obviously it depends on the weather. There was only 76% holds here last year. It's very weather dependent. If it's a warm, decent, dry week, then it'll play pretty quick. Obviously, if there's any rain around, it'll be a bit slower. So this features 40% tie-break matches, which is almost double the number of Gstaad, which I think is one of the lowest, if not the lowest on the tour. Slight trend towards overs, over 22.5. That's cashed 52% of the time. Last 5 editions, not a major trend there, but slight one to the overs. And again, 37% underdog winners here. Best rounds, weirdly, are the quarterfinal and semi-final, but another tournament that features a lot of underdog winners compared to the tour average, which is about sort of 31%. As far as the weather is concerned, there's a severe thunderstorm warning in place for Monday. 23 millimetres of rain expected. But the rest of the week looks okay. So depending on how sort of severe that thunderstorm is, it should sort of pass, and the rest of the week should be all right. So hopefully, if the sun does break through, it'll play a little bit quicker. As far as the trends are concerned, only 2 number 1 seeds have won this title since 2004. A qualifier has actually made either the semis or the final in 4 of the last 6 editions. So take a look at who's coming through the qualifying here. And 3 of the last 5 winners were priced between 22-1 and 33-1.
Let's have a look at the runners and riders. Stefanos Tsitsipas heads the betting. He's the number 1 seed. He's plus 170, the Greek, to win. Second favourite is Matteo Berrettini, plus 550, who's been practising in Monte Carlo on the clay, trying to get in some clay court form ahead of the Olympics. Jean-Leonard Struff, 7. Thomas Etcheverry, plus 750. Ugo Humbert, plus 750. Felix Auger-Aliassime is $8. Medjevic is 20. Fabio Fognini, 25. Wawrinka, 25. Botic van der Sandschip, 25. 28-1 Hanfman, 28-1 Dominic Thiem. But the market is dominated by those 6 players at the top of the market, all in single-figure prices. The trends, though, say might look for someone outside that bracket. Who do we like here, Sean?
I think the top half is the harder half. I mean, you've got several people in there that will enjoy the sort of quicker conditions. Berrettini is the obvious one. He's 8-1 win-loss here. Really suits his game, the quick altitude on the clay. He's got Kachin in the first round. I think he's the defending champion, isn't he, Kachin?
Yeah, defending champion.
Certainly won it before. Then you've got Felix, who should enjoy the conditions as well. Hanfman, who also enjoys playing on the clay at altitude. You probably saw him in Geneva. Similar conditions. Obviously, Tsitsipas. Huesler is tricky in these sort of conditions as well. And his first round opponent, Medjevic, is probably the one he's probably the one that I like the most out of the bigger prices, but he's got a very tough draw. He's got a bit of Huesler, then he's got Tsitsipas. I'm not sure Fabio Fognini will be up for it this week. He's massive tournaments only these days. He's not interested in this sort of stuff.
Will he play next week in New Mag? he could be a.
Oh yeah, he'll probably play in UMAG. I'm not sure he'll be in on ranking. He'll probably need a wild card, but he normally likes playing in UMAG. He's getting very hot though. Not sure he'll like that. It's like 34 degrees. We'll see about that. Not sure yet. But that half looks tough. Whereas the bottom half, I think it looks a good opportunity for the guy I like is in the bottom half.
And who is that player?
Okay, I thought you wanted to do the odds. Have we done that already?
I've done it already, Sean.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm ahead of the game, mate. Ahead of the
game.
game.
It's very difficult for me. I've got so many bits of paper on my desk at the minute, all these tournaments. Right, okay, so it's Jan-Lennard Struff for me. If you look at his clay record...
He's probably our most popular player, I think, this year on the show. People we've gone for tournaments. He's always given us a good run for the money, you know?
Well, he won, didn't he, in Munich, which is... I think a slight altitude there, isn't there? But it's normally so wet and cold that it doesn't really make much difference. Last 12 months on clay at main level, 73% win rate, service points won and return points won, total of 108, and a service hold and break total of 112. You won't find many better sets of stats outside the top sort of 3, 4, 5 in the world than that. He hasn't played here for 10 years. Normally you would expect him to play Hamburg, but he's got a dreadful record there. 3-14 win-loss in Hamburg. So he's obviously decided to play Gstaad instead, where the altitude should suit his game. Of course, he's a former finalist on the clay in Madrid, where there's about 600-odd metres of altitude. You would think that this would suit his game. You know, he's in the easier half. He's got what's left of Albert Ramos first up, and then another winnable match. Echeverry maybe is his only sort of worry there. Hugo Humbert, the number 2 seed, not really a clay man. I wouldn't be that worried about him. Not seeing anything else in that half, really, that should be too much of a concern for Struff. So, yeah, I mean, it's not the most exciting of prices, but I think he's got a very, very strong chance of making the final here. I'll just take an outright win on him, plus 700 with Bet Rivers.
I mean, there's no problem with the winner. 7-1 winner might not be attractive, but it pays the bills. Don't run it. 7-1 winners you don't get them every week, so we're happy.
It's just a great draw for him. So, given that he's got such fabulous clay stats and the conditions should suit him, it just looks like a fairly obvious bet for me.
Yeah, all these tournaments in Europe this week start at 4 a.m. tomorrow. 28 different markets available on each of the matches so far with Bet Rivers, as well as the tournament winner markets, and more to come tomorrow. Any matches we've got here? Have we got anything on the matches?
Nope, we've done the matches.
Oh, right. So we're no matches, but we've got 5 match picks across the tournaments in Hamburg and in Bastad. I think they're the two tournaments we're covering. On the outright markets, we have 2 outright picks, and we're not having a pick in the tournament in Sweden. Sean, just give us a little recap on your bets. There's going to be quite a lot of them, so just make sure you've got a pen and paper handy, or press the pause button and make sure you write these bets down. Okay,
so the outright in Gstaad is Jan-Lennard Struff, 7-1. There's no match bets there. If we go back to Hamburg, I have to get this up on my screen again now. The outright there is Artur Fils, 18-1. That's each way with Bet Rivers. Now the match bets: Soonwoo Kwon to beat Marterer, plus 130 with Bet Rivers. Laslo Djere to beat Bergs, to beat Zizou Bergs at even money with Bet Rivers. Fabian Marozsan to win over 11.5 player games against Holger Rune at 1.86. That's minus 116 with Bet Rivers. Gstaad, no outright there. A couple of match bets though. Carballes Baena to beat Safiullin, 1.92 minus 109 that is. And Coria at plus 118 to beat Monteiro. Those are the bets.
There it is. So hopefully we'll have you covered there. There is not, if that's not enough for you, there is another tournament as well this week. It's in Newport. It's the grass tournament. It's always after Wimbledon. At the time of recording, the draw hasn't been known for that, and we haven't got any odds. Well, the draw has been known, but we don't know. We haven't got any odds yet. But they'll be available on the Bet Rivers website as the day progresses. So when this drops, head across there. In that tournament, you've got Manarino, you've got Christian for Eubanks, you've got Mickelson. It's a tournament usually dominated by American players. Sean will give you, if there's any value for for him on that tournament, you'll be able to get it exclusively on the Instagram page at Because We Win. So if there's anything that takes Sean's fancy, he'll post it on the Instagram. Make sure you stay across that by following us on Instagram and on Twitter on the same handle at Because We Win. Keep downloading the podcast, Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. Keep subscribing to the show, Betting Weekly Studios. There's tennis now all the way through to the resumption of the soccer campaign. So it's all tennis here for the summer, and whatever summer we've had. Next week, myself and Sean will be in UMAG, and make sure you subscribe to that Betting Weekly Studios. And thank you very, very much for all the subscribers. The record numbers that we've had across Wimbledon have been sensational. And any comments you have or any bets you like yourself, more than happy to answer any questions and get involved in a tennis debate with you on that channel on the comment section as well. That's about it. We'll be back on Tuesday. I'm flying back from Berlin tomorrow morning, nice and early. I'll be back home in London, and I'll be talking to Sean on Tuesday, giving you the updates across 4 tournaments as well, and on Wednesday on what is a bumper tennis week. Sean, thank you very much for your time. I know it's a little bit earlier than usual because I'm now heading into Berlin to cheer on England, hopefully win our first tournament since 1966. Come on, England. Take care, have a good one, and it's a busy week. Let's cash some tickets.